All right.
Hi,
Hello, everybody.
hello.
It is August 21st, and I don't know if I can't remember if I forgot to send out the call reminder.
John, you did, but I used the previous
You guys all,
email.
yeah, you guys all
Yeah,
know it's Thursday at 11.
Oh
So,
yeah.
right. Thank goodness it's the same.
yeah, I keep everything the same, so it's all good. But I do think I was thinking about that just a few minutes ago because I logged in. I'm like, oh man, there's only a couple people here. And then I thought, shit, I've been on the boat all week. So I did. I forgot to send the call reminder out. Oops. So apologies on that one.
No worries. We know you're busy.
But we do record, so I'll send out the recording reminder. All right. Well, it has been a busy week. I've been playing with Quantum. I finally had a chance to get back in, and I know quite a few people now that are white labeling Quantum. So for anybody that's doing that, or anybody that even wants to see what's behind the scenes, I'll probably invite everybody to that. I'm going to do another training with the white label people just to kind of go through all the new features because there's so much new stuff that my guys have added over the last several months. It's really amazing. We have the ability now to push the information out of any of the apps over to other apps. So that's a pretty cool deal. So like for instance, if you're in there and you're doing let's say you're doing market segmentation and you get your market segmentation, you can now push that over to the next app, which is the Build a Buyer app. So you don't have to copy and paste the information anymore. You can just push it across to the next app. So that's a really cool additional feature. We've also got for the white label people, when you create your own apps, you can actually interconnect one app to another. So if you have like a specific process and you're creating, let's say you create four apps for a particular industry and it goes from one to two to three to four and the information builds, you can actually create a click path for that information to be moved from one app to the next. So this is really cool. I mean, it's not completely 100% automated, but it's getting close. So every time you have an app in here, I'm now looking at these apps basically as employees. Each one has a different skill set, and it's really cool that you can have an assembly line because that's the way I used to do my SEO. When I had a full SEO team in the Philippines, I had, I had more than a dozen guys, and each one, I trained each one specifically on a specific task. So you might wonder, why would he do that? There's a lot of reasons why I did that. Because I had a lot of proprietary information and I didn't want any one person to have all of it. That was number one reason. Because if I train someone on the whole process, now I've just basically built myself a competitor. And I never really worry too much about competition, but I've seen many times where you'll spend a long time and a lot of effort training somebody and then they decide, oh well, I'm just going to go in business for myself, and then off they go. And that can be devastating because you might have spent several years of your life thinking that you're building an asset in your business, and then that asset's gone. And not only is it gone, it knows everything you know and it's competing against you. So, in my scheme and my grand scheme of things, when I built my SEO agency and was running SEO as services, like I said, I had over a dozen guys and I taught each one a specific task. And they knew that task like the back of their hand because that's all they did all day long. And then what they would do, they would pass those tasks back to base camp and it would automatically go to the next guy in line. So it was like a conveyor belt. I had created like an automated conveyor belt, just like Ford builds cars in the Ford factory. It would just go down the line, and the next craftsman would step up and turn his wrenches and send it on down to the next one. So it was really a beautiful system. That's how I did that. And with these robots, when you're creating apps, like let's say you white label Quantum, and you have an industry that you're serving, it's super easy to go into AI and say, hey, I serve this industry. Here's a list of some problems that I'm aware of. Can you tell me other problems that they might be experiencing that I might not be aware of? Let's make a complete list. Let's combine my knowledge with your knowledge, and let's make a complete list of the problems that these people are running into. And maybe extend it out from the business life to the personal life, because a lot of times problems in business percolate over the edges and run into personal issues. So let's create this compile list. And then once you've got that list compiled from AI, now you can continue the conversation with the AI and say, wow, these people are really struggling. I think between you and I, we could help them. Here's my specialty. Here's what I do. I am interested in generating a suite of tools, GPT tools, specifically GPT tools that would help this group of people, get over their struggles, get through their struggles, whatever you want to call it. And then it'll come up with a list of tools that you could create, a list of GPT tools. These, call them bots, call them whatever you want. They're tools. But each tool then has a specific skill set, just like what I've got in Quantum. We've got tools that solve the problem of graphics. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but that was one of my big struggles. I couldn't make like graphics to save my life. I was great at editing graphics. Like you give me a graphic, I can throw it in Photoshop and, do a lot of stuff in Photoshop. I had that skill set, but I did not have the skill set of creating the graphics from scratch. So if I wanted graphics, I got to go over to Fiverr and I got to try and find somebody. And then I have to try and convey what's in my head to their creative. And it's a pain in the ass. It takes a lot of time, it's expensive. So that's a perfect example of a problem for a business owner. That was one of mine. I had many. That was one of them. I had the same type of problem with like video. I'm not a video guy. That's not my specialty. So, same thing. I had that struggle. A lot of people struggle with copywriting, you know. A lot of people struggle with big ideas. A lot of people struggle with creative headlines, attention grabbing headlines, email openers, all that stuff, subject lines for emails. There's so many things that a business owner could struggle with. And, if you focus on a specific business, you can find those specific struggles and you can build these bots, these tools that will help them. And they're very valuable. I mean, think about, to me, the suite of tools that I've got for Quantum. Think about, to me, how valuable is that? That makes me so nimble to change directions. I don't have to wait for anybody. That's a lot of power at my fingertips. Like I get an idea in the middle of the night, I can have a logo in 5 minutes. I can have a landing page up. I can have copy for it. I can do, avatar research, stuff that used to take a long time and was a pain in the ass, I can have in seconds now. So you guys, whoever you cater to, whatever your products or services are, I guarantee you there is a bunch of potential customers right at your fingertips that you could build a suite of AI tools for, and they would love to pay you for it. They'd absolutely love to pay you for it. I know a lot of you guys are in services for business owners. You're providing services, whether it's web services or social media or whatever. You have a customer there that AI could serve so many purposes for. It's incredible. Like Linda asked me if I could create a meme generator. That's one of the things that she struggles with. Memes are like these little creative graphics that, you post out in social media. And I don't know where the name meme came from, but that's what they're calling them. It's like you have a little, uh, it's almost like a one-liner. A lot of times they're comical. So, you have a stand-up comedian that's throwing one-liners out and they're making memes. They're turning that one-liner into a meme. Now, those memes go viral on social media. So all that social media leads back to you. So she asked, "Hey, I need memes. I struggle with that." So that's probably the next tool I'm going to try and put out is a meme maker. Maybe I'll call it meme maker. That's sounds kind of cool. But the tool that yesterday, I got to tell you, this was probably the hardest of the tools that I've built yet. And it was the tool that makes all of the buying triggers. I did that master class on the buying triggers, and I have 20 different triggers that I go through and I teach you all about the trigger, like what it does, what it means, the psychology behind it. But that still leaves you in the same boat of, oh shit, now I have to do this. You might know about it, you might know how to do it. I've given you examples, but I did that for a big idea. No one was able to do big ideas either. So I realize that's a problem. I've shown you a shiny object that you direly want. I mean, who doesn't want buying triggers in their marketing campaign, right? That's the stuff that makes people have to have it. It's the psychology, it's the triggers behind what makes them want to buy it and actually pull the trigger on the purchase. So I laid out this map of 20 of them, showed you, identified them, showed you how they fit in, what they do, all of that. And that created a pretty high desire and demand for those triggers, right? But now you still have to make them. And most of you will struggle with that. I mean, I even struggle with that. They're not easy. You're creating these psychological triggers is not the easiest thing in the world to do. So I went to work to build an app inside of Quantum for the buying triggers, and you guys can see it. It's in there right now. It's um, it's really cool. It's like 99% done. I'm still kind of fiddling with it to get it perfect, but it's pretty damn good at this point. I've wrestled with it all day. I've not worked on an app yet that took me all day to do, but this one did. And it's called the Buying Trigger Persuasion Engine. And you can literally take the information from your buyer profile, pipe it in here automatically, and it will create the buying triggers out of your build a buyer profile, which is really cool. And it doesn't just create one of them, it creates all 20 of them. So it looks at your buyer profile, it figures out who you're selling to, and it builds you 20 of the buying triggers and spits them all out in a row. And it not only gives you the trigger itself, but it gives you the psychology behind it, a little background. It's really a powerful tool. So that one, I was really proud of that one once I got it done because it was not easy to have that one tool do 20 triggers in a row and spit them all out rapid fire. I actually had to build it using JSON code, and I used Perplexity, and I was using Perplexity like a pro yesterday, for lack of a better word, and I hit the wall with it. It made me upgrade. It's like, oh no, you're requiring much too much of our labor. You need to move up in your pro account. So I had to upgrade to actually get what I needed out of it because I was using it big time. But it was really cool. It was a cool experience in using the JSON. It actually created a unique framework for each one of those triggers. So I created with Perplexity, I created the 20 frameworks using JSON, strung them all together inside the app, and got the thing to spit out what I wanted. And it took all day. I tried many shortcuts doing the tools the way I used to do them, and it just wasn't doing the trick. It was not giving me what I wanted. So now I got it dialed in. All right, Arba, you got your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, first I wanted to make a comment, then I wanted to ask a question about the buying triggers. The comment is that what I have been noticing is that AI in general is creating a lot of monsters out there as far as people, solopreneurs. So it's like a lot of the people who did not understand marketing now they're using AI and AI is spitting out these marketing plans and they still don't know how to do what they do. So I have been making money, and I will say this to any of you all, if you are a consultant, because I'm not a consultant, I'm a trainer and a doer. It's like just give it to me, I'll do it. And but what's happening is I am getting clients that are coming to me with these marketing strategies that you can tell they use some kind of AI program or whatever, and they think now they're, whatever, and they want somebody to do it for them. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, this does not make any sense because they don't know it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And so then I'm getting consultants involved with me, and saying that you need to work with a consultant that will then really dissect this plan that you got from AI and then come back to me. So I'm telling you all as consultants, if any of you are consultants, that you can, if you choose to, use that as a marketing tool. You can say, do you have a marketing strategy that you created from AI and need someone to dissect it for you or look it over? Then, come to me, kind of thing. Because that is happening more than once. And my question about the buying triggers, I'm confused because I thought buying triggers is already a part of your suite.
So I had a buying trigger tool in there, but the buying trigger tool that I had in there was very rudimentary. It didn't focus on all 20 of the ones like buying triggers. There's hundreds of different buying triggers.
Mhm.
There's literally hundreds. If you do research, psychological research for what makes somebody do something, you can find hundreds of triggers. So what I did was I plucked out like the top 20 that are the most commonly used in sales and marketing, built a list, created a master class, showed how each one of them could be used, and that's a freebie. That's a freebie as a lead magnet to get people introduced to me and the ACT program. It's a free giveaway. So it's
Mhm.
very methodical of why I did it that way. And then the next thing is now they know about the 20 buying triggers. Everyone's going to want to put some of those to work for them, right? Nobody's going to go through that and see those things and not want to use them for their own benefit. That's very powerful. That's a very strong draw. Now, the next thing, like, people want it done for them. So they're going to want to get that done, and I don't want to do it. Like,
Mhm.
that's the last thing on earth I want to jump into. That's a dirty pool I don't want to swim in for me. It's a great one for a lot of people, that need work and want to do stuff and love to work with people. It's just not for me. So what I did was I built a tool for it. The tool is inside the package that I want to sell. Like, you guys should all be thinking about this. What is your package that you want to sell, and how do you lay mouse traps to catch the mice? And that's
So
what the
the
buying trigger masterclass was.
so the buying triggers that's already in quantum is just identifying, like if I'm following the whole quantum, it's identifying the top five, like I'm looking at it, it's identifying the top buying triggers, but it's not, what is it? What is, I'm still not figuring out what's the difference.
Okay, so there's two tools in there. There's the original buying triggers tool that I made.
Mhm.
And it's like I said, it's very rudimentary. It's just going out and trying to figure out, hey, let's do a couple of buying triggers. It's almost like a sample. It doesn't dig into like showing you what it's for and the psychology behind it and all that. The new one that I built goes hand in hand with the masterclass. So it breaks down
Mhm.
all 20 of them, and it looks at your buyer profile to see who you're actually trying to attract, and then it creates one of each of the 20 for you to use. Now they're not perfect.
Mhm.
There's a lot more information, and this kind of goes back to you, Arba, for what you were describing. People are thinking they're masters of marketing because they have Chat GPT and they say, build me a marketing plan. Well, as you know, it's garbage in, garbage out. You ask a simple question, you're going to get a simple answer. And in marketing, marketing's anything but simple. Like, as you guys know, it might look simple from the outside. Yeah, ACT, analysis, creation, traffic, piece of cake, right? Well, go to implement and get back to me on how difficult that might actually be. But if you don't have the framework and the system and the structure and the knowledge of what all that means, you don't have a chance. You don't have a prayer of selling your stuff. Unless you're selling it, to friends, or you're hiring Girl Scouts that are cute and people want to buy from them. That's not the case for most of us, right? Most of us are out in the real world and there's crocodiles, and we don't have a chance unless we're armed with the right knowledge and the right tools. And that's what I try and do, is provide that. I don't provide the service of doing it, but that opens up massive opportunity for those of you that are looking for things that you want to do. You want to be coaches, you want to be consultants, you want to be, all of this stuff. You can do it. Yeah,
Mhm.
like that one guy, you can do it. You just have to know how. You need somebody to shine the light on the road ahead for you. And that's hopefully what I'm able to do for you guys. And opening up the white label of quantum is a perfect opportunity for any of you that want to create your own suite of tools. I got to tell you, I have made a lot of money over the years from selling access to SaaS software. SaaS is software as a service. That's what SaaS stands for. There's a lot of money. If you look at Shark Tank, some of these guys that are billionaires, like Mark Cuban, he got there with SaaS software. You know, a lot of these guys have software development in the structure of how they became billionaires. It's a way to automate recurring income. You're trading value for dollars, but the value you're creating is delivered in software. It's not delivered by you. It's not your blood, sweat, and tears other than to build it. So the idea of you having your own software, whether it's a white label of quantum or you find some other thing that's in your industry that you can buy a white label version of, I highly recommend that you offer things that are recurring. And SaaS software is a perfect example. You guys have watched me do this over the years. The Rainmaker software then turned into SitePop software. It's now turning into another software. As the industry evolves, we're evolving the software because I like that recurring income. I also like helping the agency owners. That to me is more of a sense of pride than me getting someone's site to the top and making some one person wealthy by using SEO for them. The idea that I can give someone an opportunity to build and create an empire, their own business, that to me is worth a lot more than me helping somebody with SEO that, they're just greedy, they're never going to be happy, and they're just, for the most part, they're just miserable people. All the agency owners, the small businesses that supply services, those are people I want to hang out with. They're there to help others. They're not just in it for themselves. I like those people a lot more. So I'll spend a lot more of my time and energy to build things for them, support them, be there with them. That's why I'm here with you guys. And it's not for the money. You guys are, you're not paying me a boatload of money just to be on here with me like a lot of the gurus. They're not in it for you. They're in it for how much they can get out of you. I'm here for a different reason. If I were here for any other reason, I'd probably be catering to a different crowd that I wouldn't like near as much. So
Well, I thank you.
anyway, you're very welcome. And one more thing, Arba, before I move to Jim, back to what you were saying. These people, they need consulting. They're making garbage because they don't know how to talk to the machine. You
Mhm.
could create a phenomenal lead magnet out of that idea. You could create the buyer's guide to using AI to build a marketing campaign that actually works. And you could go in with a fear factor spearheading it, saying, if you're using AI to build a marketing plan, you're on the edge of a cliff and you got somebody about to push you off.
Yeah.
It's not going to work and it's going to do damage to your reputation and your business.
Yeah, just like quickly, the guy that came to me, he came to me with a $2 million um plan, $2 million campaign that, and he wanted to make the 2 million by the end of this year. Aren't we in August right now? And he said $2 million. And so when I met with him and I was like, "Oh, have you ever made 2 million before?" I was just that direct. He's like, "No." I said, "Have you ever made 1 million?" And so I said, AI is going to give you what you ask for. If you ask it to give you a $2 million campaign, that's what it's going to create for you. But that doesn't mean, I said, no, you can't pay me to watch you go down the drain. I was like, you need somebody to realistically look at what you just outputted, what you want, and give you without a team either. He doesn't have a team. So he doesn't have a team. He just wanted me to implement his $2 million marketing campaign.
And I applaud you actually for not doing it. There's a lot of people that say, "Oh yeah, you have money, you want this? Okay, no problem." I
Yeah.
so I applaud you for pumping the brakes and not
Well,
let.
he wanted to make it a performance based. That's why he wanted to
Oh,
make it a performance based pay. And I was like, I did that in my 30s,
yeah.
and I'm twice that age now. So,
I would not recommend anyone. I don't care where you're at, even if you're just getting started, I wouldn't get into a performance-based contract with anybody because for one, all it's telling you is they don't want to pay you. And if you do perform, they're still not going to pay you. And you have no control over it.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
all right, Jim, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you could do a quick demo of how to populate or forward populate the inputs from app to app in Quantum.
Oh, sure. I can do that. Let me get into Quantum here. All right, we'll share the screen so you guys can probably see that, right? Okay,
Yes.
so I'll just start with the market segmenter. So who wants to segment? You want to give me an example, Jim, or you want me to just go with one I've already got in here?
Business coach.
All right, so we have,
Oh, I got some clients for you, Jim.
Let's talk, Arba.
all right, so business coaching. Again, we're in the market segmenter. So I just put in business coaching, which is kind of a high level, and we're going to find out in that arena who's the most profitable to work with. That's what the first tool does, the market segmenter. So corporate executives, number one. So if you're going to do business coaching, number two, entrepreneurs and startup founders. So you could technically take any of these. Like you might say, oh God, I hate corporate. Even though corporate's, ranked number one, it's not for me. So this isn't, this you need to interpret this information for you. But I'm just going to go like we're going to assume, okay, corporate executives, that's
Let's do the entrepreneurs.
well, let me show you how this thing would just do this with
Okay.
see, I scrolled to the bottom and see
Oh, nice.
send to build a buyer. We could literally boom, hit that and send it, or we could send it to another app. If you already had your buyer profile, let's say you wanted to send it to another app, you could send it to any of them.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some of them wouldn't apply. You wouldn't want to send that to your kitchen wizard. So, you have to interpret. Here's our new buying trigger persuasion engine. But I'm just going to go back here and I'm just going to send it to the build a buyer. And what it's doing, it's filling out the form. It moved us over to the build a buyer, and you can see here. Let's see. I got to move my Zoom windows around here so I can see. So it took the corporate executives and your product, leadership coaching for corporate executives.
But question though, John, what if you didn't want corporate executives? Like Jim said, he wanted
You
if
you
you,
can you could always override that. Like you could go in here and you could put in entrepreneurs and whatever.
okay.
So this is
So
just
it automatically defaults to the top one.
yes. That's
Ah,
because it's looking for the job of it is to find the money. So it
what?
found the money at the top number one. So it's going to move that down the line for you. You can override it though
So it picked a product, leadership coaching for,
for corporate executives.
because I don't think you filled that in, right?
I did not. It intuitively
Wow.
filled that in.
Why was there an error then?
The error is something that's in the back of the thing. It didn't really have an error. It
Okay.
wasn't a big deal.
All right.
So
Thank you.
I just closed the error thing. So here it filled it in. And now this is an old one. This is one for real estate. So I have to generate the results now. So I'm going to go ahead and generate the results for the corporate executives. And this is now building the buyer profile. So you can really just advance the stuff. It wasn't such a big deal before. You were just copying and pasting over. But this is along the lines of full automation, passing things down an assembly line like I was talking about before.
Does it take the paragraph part of the target market?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
It
behind the
just doesn't
scenes.
have an input field for it, but it goes into the software.
Yeah, it's drawing all the information forward to the next step.
Gotcha.
So here you got Michael Turner, 48. He's your corporate guy. Yeah, we got all the stuff here. Now you could do that again. You could take this information, which you guys know how powerful this is, and you could send it to another app.
So if I already had a profile in there, I could do it with that
If
and
you
it would
have
work.
a
Okay.
past profile, I don't really know the answer if it
Okay.
pick that up and move it, but
Yeah.
you could
Thanks.
regenerate.
Yep. Thank you.
So, if you wanted to send it over to make a lead magnet out of this, you could send this information right to the next app. So it's pretty powerful.
That's amazing, actually.
Awesome.
Pretty powerful stuff. Yeah. So let me go back and I'll show you guys a quick demo of the new one. This is the buying trigger persuasion engine. I haven't decided. I may just replace the buying trigger tool in here with this. This is so much more powerful. And the original buying trigger tool, I almost kind of look at that now as a beta. So at this point, I might decide to just remove that other buying trigger tool and replace it with this one.
It would
It's
avoid
amazing
confusion.
refining. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So that is really cool. Also, I don't know if you guys have seen some of the other new stuff that's added, like the John bot. This is trained with all of the calls back to 2018. So everything, every question I've answered, everything that I've covered is compiled into a massive knowledge base. And I used the knowledge base in Quantum to create this. So I created a knowledge base and then created a John bot. And this is really, really cool. If you go into the bots, you'll find the knowledge base here. So you can create a knowledge base. And then if you've got a white label version, what you can do, you can create an AI assistant. So you can go in here and there's the John bot. So,
Is the John bot only for if you have white label?
well,
Because
I made the John bot basically for for my quantum, but like if you're a white label, you obviously wouldn't want the John bot. You'd want an Arba bot.
but what if I want the because it has if you have already downloaded, deployed all of your knowledge into the John bot, I could get a whole lot more out of the John bot than an Arbor bot. So, and I don't see John bot in my account.
Yeah, I don't think I moved John bot over to the white label. But
Well,
if
I'm not in white label. That's why I was asking if it's in the regular.
Oh, it should be. Yeah, you should be able to use the John bot from the Quantum Suite.
Yeah, I don't
But
see it either, but maybe we need to do a refresh, Arba.
oh, okay. Well, I just logged in.
Ah, okay.
Let's
So
see.
it looks like it hasn't been deployed yet in the
Oh,
regular.
well, no, it should.
Is it in one of the
I'll have to look
things
at.
up top by any chance?
No, I have it on the main page. So hit refresh, just like go to your browser and hit
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, I
Okay.
did it too. No change.
No John bot.
No
Well,
John bot.
that's weird because I know Connie's been using it. She's been using it in a Quantum Suite.
But doesn't Connie have white label?
No, she's got the regular. She has a regular demo version of the Quantum. So I'll have to look at that and see why that is. Maybe I need to add. I might need to approve it for access for everybody. But anyway, that's how you build a John bot is the AI assistant. So you basically just click on that. You create an AI personality, and then you would title it like I called it John bot. Add a description, a logo, and then what type of a personality, like if you want a coach, if you want an SEO optimizer, you know, you can have a travel guide, virtual travel. So there's a bunch of you know, core ones in here, or you can build your own. So that's the personality type. And then here is the instructions. This is where you actually paste the personality. And you build this using the BeckyBot tool. And then you attach it to a knowledge base. So there's my JohnBot knowledge base. You can create and upload your own knowledge base, and I'll show you where to do that. So this is where to create the bot itself. Now to create the stuff, if you go into the bot tools and you go into build a Becky, this will build you the personality. So you can see I built my personality here that I pasted into the John bot. It's got the cultural background, the physical appearance, the personality traits, the core values, the education history, professional experience. All of that goes into creating the personality of the John bot. Speaking engagements, awards, personality or personal philosophy, communication style, his sense of humor, hobbies. I mean, this is very detailed. This was created by the BeckyBot tool. The BeckyBot tool is basically it creates the personality for your BeckyBot. Now, I didn't use it for the Becky bot. I used it for the tool inside here. It's even got guidance. It also can create you a prompt for creating your image. So if you're not using you, if you're creating a fictional character, it will actually create their look based on that profile. And these things are really, really good. Like you can create a Pixar. I actually created a Pixar character of myself. So this stuff is amazing. For those of you that have the BeckyBot tool, the BeckyBot tool is really advanced. We have a basic bot tool in here. Let me go back for a second here. If you just want like a basic bot for your website, it's not real pretty. It's basic. It doesn't have like the fancy graphics and the looks and the color schemes and all that. But you can create a basic chat bot if you want to put a chat bot on your website. Because once you create the chat bot, like I created a basic Ask John one and then I made it inactive. But when you go into the settings, you can get the code snippet for this bot. Say you create a basic bot, you go in, you copy that code, copy to clipboard, and it will take that. You can drop that into your WordPress site, and now that bot will be on your site. So that's really beneficial because all your visitors don't have access to your Quantum suite. So if you want, you can put the bot on your actual website, and then your users that come to your website could use your bot.
Is that like a lot of them are, a little thing in the corner that pops up and talks to them?
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
That's exactly what that is. So there's a base one here in Quantum. If you want just a basic looking one, you could do that. Let me see if I actually did this. I don't remember if I put this on my actual site or not. Um, let's see. Go there. We'll see if it pops up over here in the right. So after everything loads, the bot script is one of the last things to load. So it'll load and usually go down here. So yeah, actually I did. See the little guy right there?
Looks like the John bot.
That is the John bot.
So either one of them will work, the simple one or the
Yeah.
newer one, the more advanced one.
So I have the John bot here, and I put in there to collect name and email before you talk to someone.
Nice.
So it's actually lead generating for me.
Yep.
That's pretty freaking cool. And then once they put their name and email in, now John is going to talk to them. And he's got all the knowledge that I have. He might not look as good, but he's but anyway, that's something you could put on your site. Now, a more advanced one is the actual Becky bot. You can see this is basic. This is not really graphical. It's just a basic looking chat window. Let me see. Let me see if I can get to.
And you used video to populate the knowledge base for the John bot, John?
I actually used the videos from YouTube, but we transcribed them.
I see. Thank you. So you need text.
We put it all into a big jumbo text file and uploaded it in probably 20 pieces because there was
Got it. Okay. Because I have a lot of content, but it's all video right now.
yeah.
Well, not all of it. There's articles from way before, but
Let's see. All right, so I'm going to Acquisitionaire. Acquisitionaire actually has a real Becky bot on it. So see Becky down here? Much more graphical. She's like shaking her stuff like, look at me. The John bot doesn't have that. And he's not going to shake his booty for you. But Becky will. Now, when you open her up, you have a full Pixar character here. So you have a visual, you have a graphic, you can put backgrounds in here. You can make this thing look beautiful. That's the advantage of the Becky bot. You've got
Does she
her,
capture leads for you too?
she will capture leads for you too.
Right on.
She actually introduces herself and then asks, and then the visitor asks the question, and they go back and forth. She's also trained to prospect. She actually makes sales. She will tell she basically she'll tell you, hey, if you're really interested in this, I have a special link. Don't tell anybody. I'm not supposed to share it. She will be flirtatious and do that. She'll also introduce you to our affiliate program. One of her jobs is to find affiliates. So if you're on here and you're talking to her, at some point she's probably going to offer you an affiliate link to sign up to be an affiliate. So the Becky Bot, right now we're charging $100 a year for the Becky Bot software, which is nothing. You can actually use this to create Becky bots for your client sites. Now, I just call her Becky. You don't have to have a Becky bot. You just use the Becky bot software. You could create a John bot or a Pam bot or just, an expert bot, whatever you want to call it. You could call it a plumber guy bot, pool guy bot. You could create these bots, and it's just that little simple strip of code. You drop that code into the website, and that bot magically appears. So it's really cool. Also, in the back end, when you go into the back end of the software, you can actually see all the conversations. So you can go in and you can see what's going on in the back end conversations of all these things. So those are really good services, by the way, for anybody that is doing website stuff, any services for businesses that have websites. Anybody in the future, like in the very near future, anybody that doesn't have a Becky bot or something like this, their site's going to be dead. Say a prospect comes on and they want to talk to somebody. Obviously, there's not phone numbers that you can call 24/7. But Becky here, she hops up out of bed at any time of the day or night and she'll talk to you. She's not going to complain about it. She's not going to have an off day. She's just on it 24/7. So, this is going to be a big thing in the future, is having interactivity to a website. Think about the difference between this and going to a website that's just static. There's information you can read, you're going to get confused, there's nobody to talk to. They're going to bug out, and then they're going to find a site like this, and they're going to get their questions answered, and they're going to do business. So, say you pay $99 a year for the software and you sell this to clients for $47 a month, and you get 100 clients.
John, I remember several weeks back you talked about the Becky bot and said it includes this, but you got to be able to do this over here. I don't remember what this over here was.
So with the Becky bot, with this one, with the actual real Becky bot, you have to have an open AI account, and you have to go in and you have to set up the API key, because it runs on the API key. And then you have to go into the OpenAI and you have to create an account for credits, because you're using your credits on this. There's no credit system in here. You just use your own credits. It's incredibly cheap. Like, I've been running this particular Becky bot now for over a year. And originally I put $20 worth of credits into OpenAI, and it took almost a year before it burned up $20 worth of credits. So, I mean, this isn't a real super high volume site, but it gives you an idea. It's really cheap to run one of these bots. So if you charge your client, $47 a month, they're going to be paying you $600 a year for something that probably costs you $120 for the first one, and they're basically free after that. So you get, 2 or 3 clients and you're in pretty good profit. So Lynn, go ahead. You just have to.
Okay. I just have an easy question. I'm loving the Becky bot and the John bot, but my mind wants to talk about that next week. I want to go back to these buying triggers. You were showing Jim how to link a personality, an avatar, to a buying trigger.
Yes.
And you can do that, right? I can take my.
Uh-huh.
Can you go there and show me how you would go straight from the avatar to the?
Yeah, actually, we missed that one. So I actually did that yesterday. I was running one for a real estate agent, and the software, well, basically, it was for Linda, and she's selling a white label. She's building a white label of Quantum for realtors. So I was testing this basically for her purpose. So I went in there and I created a avatar of a realtor, and the product is the AI software for realtors so they can sell more properties. And it created the buying triggers here for that.
Okay.
So loss aversion, it starts at the top. You got loss aversion as the first trigger, right? That's the first trigger in the lesson. So it says why this works. Jessica Palmer, that's the avatar. So why this works, here's the framework. Here's the sample persuasion copy. So this is your actual trigger right here. Don't watch another family bypass your listing. Every day without home story video is a week longer on the market and thousands off your paycheck. So
Wow.
that's the loss aversion trigger for this buyer. And then it's got other stuff. It says stacking advanced angles combined with scarcity. So it's telling you you don't use all 20. That's another thing you guys need to understand. You don't have to use all 20 buying triggers. If you do, it's going to start looking very spammy. So this is recommending, okay, combine this trigger, the loss aversion, with scarcity. And it's giving you that, and then common pitfalls, overstating losses without data feels manipulative. So you got to look at these and maybe you pump them up a little bit. These might not be like you take them exact verbatim. You take it as an idea and maybe, change it, make it your own, but it's giving you the framework for it. And then the next one is anchor bias. Again, why this works for Jessica Palmer. And it's using this home story video service as the thing that she's selling. So anyway, you've got why it works, the framework, and then the sample. After investing over 10K in prime cut, what is that? Prime cut sands showings. So that's something that she spent money on. That's probably a service she spent money on and didn't work. So after investing 10K in something that doesn't work, why not spend 1,500 to captivate buyers from day one? So again, that's the anchor bias. You're anchoring it to something that she knows she spent a lot of money on, and then you're showing them something cheaper, which is the premise for anchor bias. Show them something expensive so yours seems like a bargain. And then again, it's like you can pair this with authority bias and then the pitfalls. So this is really a lot of valuable information. And you've got 20 of these things. This report goes on and on and on for all 20 triggers. And it does the same framework all the way along. Like here's
Jessica.
Halo. Here's why it works. There's the framework behind it. There's the example. And again, it says sample persuasive copy. It doesn't mean that you take this and copy it and paste it in. It's a framework for you to use to, edit it for your own purposes. But it's giving you an example for your industry and your product. So it's much better than just a generic off the shelf example of that buying trigger. It's giving you a specific example for your purpose. So can you guys imagine how valuable Quantum just became now for somebody that's looking at it as, should I buy this ACT program that comes with Quantum after they've learned the buying triggers? and this thing's doing it all for you, just this one tool makes it worth the
Yeah.
price of admission.
It's magnified the value.
Absolutely. So, you
Wow.
know, that's what I'm trying to do here, is provide so much value that the whole thing just becomes an absolute no-brainer. And that's what you all should be doing for your products and services. Figure out how can you give stuff away, which I'm going to ask you guys a question. Which trigger am I doing that I'm giving things away to get somebody to bond to me? Which trigger is that? Anybody know?
I'd say over deliver. I don't know if that's a trigger though.
No, out of the 20
Yeah.
triggers that I
I don't know.
have here.
Uh,
I
So,
don't remember them all yet.
stacking advanced angles.
well, that's the recommendation. So
Okay.
let me go through them here.
That's
So
not what it's called. That's not what the trigger's called.
no,
Okay.
that's in each one of the frameworks. So first trigger is loss aversion. That's not what I'm doing here.
No.
So stacking advanced angles that's what trigger you couple it with. So anchor bias, nope, that's not it. Social proof, nope, that's not it.
No.
Scarcity,
Nope.
nope. There it is right there. Reciprocity.
Huh.
So by gifting Jessica a sample highlight reel of one of her current listings, she'll feel compelled to reciprocate by booking a full video package. It's reciprocity.
Okay.
That's what I did by creating the whole masterclass. That was total reciprocity. That was my buying trigger premise. Give away so they feel compelled to move forward with you. So this stuff, I didn't stack buying triggers. I didn't stack with 20 buying triggers. It's one. It's reciprocity. Very powerful. Every one of these things is incredibly powerful. You could take these things and again, you don't have to use all of them. You can get away with one. Pick the right one and target your audience with it and you know, get some new customers. Make some money. All the stuff is absolute pure gold. You just have to take it to the bank and cash it in. You're carrying bags of gold. You guys don't realize that. You just have to take them in and cash them in. You know, it all takes work. I got to tell you, if any of you were at I think it was my first ACT event. I don't know if any of you here were there, but I did an exercise during that event where before the event, I had 65 people in the room. So I had 65 chairs. I took a dollar bill and I put it in an envelope. I had 65 of these things and I taped that under everyone's chair. So every chair in the room had a dollar bill in an envelope taped to the bottom of the seat where they couldn't see it. And at the end, I said, "Are you guys ready to make money?" I said, "I'm going to let you make your first dollar right now in the next 2 minutes. You're going to make your first dollar." I said, "The first thing, I want everyone to stand up. I want you to reach under your chair, find the envelope under there, pull it off, open the envelope, and see what's inside." So they all have a dollar in their hand now. I said, "I want you to take the dollar that's now in your hand and put it in your pocket or in your wallet or in your purse or wherever you put your money." They all did that. I said, "You all just made your first dollar. And the moral of the story is all you had to do to make that dollar is get up off your ass." And everybody absolutely loved it. But it was to the point of you have to do something to make money. And I illustrated it and demonstrated it in real time. You know, it was it was comical. Everybody absolutely loved it. But the point was, that's the only way you're going to make money is if you get up off your ass. That's it. It's not like you don't have the knowledge. It's not like you don't have the tools. It's not like you're not surrounded by people that need your help. Those people are willing to pay you. You just have to pick something that you're going to provide a service or a value and make that offer. So it's not like there's no opportunity. You're surrounded by opportunity. I think whatever industry each of you are in, there's a lot of people that need your help. That help is value. You trade the value for dollars. That's as simple as it is. That's just the way business has been since the beginning of time. It's a trade of value for an exchange for something else of value. In your case, you want the money. The money is the value to you. Your value to them is your skill set or whatever you're offering, or your SaaS software. If you don't have a product, you can white label Quantum. You can easily build out, like, I think Gina can vouch for this. You could build out 4 tools, a suite of 4 tools for any industry in an afternoon, pretty much. It's basically just working with Perplexity. I've got the script. I've got everything that you need to do it, plus being able to walk you through it, hold your hand through the whole process if you need that. So it's, I've pretty much taken away all the excuses now. So if anybody's got any excuses, I would love to hear them. I would absolutely love to hear them because I don't, if there's more hurdles in the way, I'm happy to try and get over them for you, but I need to know what they are. So if you're struggling with something, that's what this call is for. This is about support and mentorship, and I'm here for that. So if you're struggling, if you're not making money, if you're having trouble making sales, whatever, I would love to hear about it so I can help you get through that. So everybody making all the money you want?
No, I'm brand new,
Okay, that's awesome.
so I think I'm having right now I'm building out my website and I'm hating every step of it because it's looking worse and worse.
Okay.
And so where I'm struggling is I don't want too much AI on my site. I want to I'm learning my tools to design, but I think I'm having this kind of paralysis of how I get started. So my business is
Okay.
eco-friendly, sustainable print on demand. And so um, eventually I need to test samples first. But I think I'm kind of struggling with getting some good designs that I know are going to trend well. And I don't know if you have tools that I can talk with AI based on my target audience, which is the affluent urban millennials, um, based on this program. Um, and so I've been doing a lot of targeted things and research towards that, but I'm just feel like my wheels are spinning as I'm trying to
Okay.
get it off the ground.
Okay. So what might be the problem is you might be like a step ahead of yourself. And,
Yeah.
and what I tell everybody is don't jump into web development until web development should be like one of the last things that you're doing. You really need to figure out who your audience is, where the profit is. Have you done the profitability part, the market segmentation, to know that you're focused on a profitable segment?
I did, but the problem is I don't have my I haven't ordered the things yet because I don't know what I need to buy because I don't know what's trending.
Okay. So my
Um,
my concern specifically with you would be you might be targeting a market that's really hard to penetrate because it might not be a profitable sector.
Okay.
And I've done this myself. I've made this mistake many, many times in the beginning. A perfect example of one of my biggest mistakes was me and my brother started a business in sport fishing, and in our analysis, we figured out we were going to sell lures, fishing lures. And in our analysis, we found out that all the successful lure companies, they all had t-shirts, and everyone in the, all the people on the boats and at the docks and everything was wearing their t-shirts, and that's how they advertised. So we're like, okay, well, we need a line of shirts for the lures. In looking at the shirts to create the shirt line, I discovered there was more profit in the shirts than there was in the lures. So we changed the whole business model. We went from a lure company to a shirt company. And we found that there was a lot of profit in the shirts. There was a massive marketplace. But where my mistake was I focused on my likes, not the market's likes. And
Mm-hmm.
like I was totally into the big game stuff, the marlin. Like you can see, there's one hanging on the wall behind me here. The That's a very elite part of sport fishing. If you look at the pyramid, that's at the very top, which is the smallest, tiny little pinnacle. So it's not profitable. There's not enough people to sustain my sales goals. I wanted to sell these shirts worldwide. There's not a worldwide market for marlin fishermen that's big enough for me to make the kind of money I wanted. The money was down in the bottom of the pyramid for bass fishing. And I've never caught a bass, a freshwater bass in my life, nor would I ever want to, because the thing behind my wall eats those. That's bait. But that's where the money was. So I went full guns into building this line of Marlin t-shirts and, high-end sport fishing t-shirts. I wound up with a warehouse full of stuff I couldn't sell. I lost over $250,000 on that business venture. I went in deep. And when I finally listened to the audience, like I started talking to the stores that were buying the stuff and they weren't rebuying. I said, why are you not rebuying? They're like, well, we sold the Marlin shirts to all the Marlin guys and now they don't need any more. And I said, well, what do you need? He goes, well, if you had a bass shirt, I could sell those all day long and, twice on the weekends. And I'm like, a bass? That's just going to make me want to throw up. Like to put a bass on my chest, it would hurt my soul. And it was hard for me. It was hard for me to accept that reality. But once I did, I made so much freaking money. I basically took all the other shirts and I donated them to a charity for kids. And I was fine with it because I was making so much money selling bass shirts, but it wasn't my passion. It wasn't anything I was excited about, but it allowed me to make the money to go and do the things that I wanted. So that would be my concern for you, just hearing what you were focused on. I think that's a passion for you.
Well, my passion is finding like green, sustainable companies that will do print on demand for my design. So my design can be targeted towards anybody. The niche is specifically like I'm learning
Okay.
about blockchain to verify, that it's organic cotton and it has fair trade properties. And then I'm
Okay.
only doing plastic-free packaging. So it can be targeted towards anybody that likes the sustainability when they think about, their consumption.
Gotcha.
So it's just that's the basis. That's my passion. I've done all that research to find the products, but now it's just like,
And the
there's a lot of products. So now it's just like,
so
what?
the products, are these promotional products for them, or is this products that they're going to put into their pipeline and sell?
So I'm going to be the designer where I put, say, like a leaf with a heart or something, and
Okay.
it's on organic cotton hoodie because they wanted this blue hoodie with this particular design.
Okay. So
Um,
it's basically promotional goods for the company, right?
well, it's not really because it's from in my mind it's going to be a consumer thing. It's like say you have you want to shop eco-friendly, but you don't know how to do it. Hopefully, I'll figure out how to like pull up in the search, and then you can pick like you like the design, you could put it on a steel mug, or you can have it on a t-shirt or on a bag, or I don't I'm trying to figure out my product line. I'm trying to figure
Okay.
out, I thought I had my target audience, but now you're making me think that
Okay. No, well,
maybe I'm looking in the wrong. So I'm thinking more it's a consumer, like business, my business to consumer rather than to other businesses. Or maybe I'm not thinking big enough. But I think if the company wanted to do it, they would just go to the businesses that I'm using directly.
yeah, yeah, because and that's the whole point of this. This is great that you're throwing this out here. It's
Yeah.
it's not, an exercise to bash you or anything. It's to make you think.
Yeah.
Make you think,
John,
is what I'm doing the right thing? And the first thing, you have to verify the money is there. You got to verify. Like I know you have a big audience of the people that want to save the earth and all that stuff. But I use that as an example of the least profitable market in water. I don't know if you've ever heard that water analogy that I've used.
No.
So, like if you take a bottle of water, which this is what you're doing, you're taking a t-shirt or a consumable item. I use a bottle of water as an example. And I say, you've got three different groups you could sell this bottle of water to. One group is the eco-friendly, the green, the save the earth. Those people, that's an audience. You could sell the bottle of water to them. Another group is performance, like athletes, people that are competing and performing and they want a competitive edge. That's another market niche. And then you have the health industry. So you've got people that will buy the water for health, to live longer, to maybe, prevent disease, or maybe just prolong their life a little bit. Maybe they've got terminal cancer and they want just a better end of life, and the water could extend their life by a day even. So you have those three to pick from. Now we take the same bottle of water that we're going to sell to them and we put a $20 price tag on it. Right out of the gate, the green people don't want to save the earth enough to pay 20 bucks for a bottle of water, right? That's just a reality. They'll donate, they'll do all kinds of weird stuff, but when it comes to every day paying $20 a bottle for everyday water, ain't going to happen. The performance people, they'll buy the water to get the edge during a race or leading up to a race, but it's not going to be a forever type purchase. $20 is, it's okay for a small stint. But then when you talk about the health part, what's it worth to have an extra day of life with your loved ones? Is it worth $20 a bottle? Yes. So that's the most profitable segment if you wanted to try and sell a $20 bottle of water. And I just use that as an example. You can extrapolate that out to almost anything. It's where does the product solve the biggest solution, eliminate the most pain, or provide the most pleasure?
John, can I give you and I's business model with affiliates to her for an idea? She says has a large audience of people who want this stuff, right?
Sure.
Why don't you do a survey and ask them what they want and go get it for them?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is something John and I do. We ask as many times. We ask our list, "What do you want?" And they say, "Well, I want a bot for my website." Well, great. John goes and creates it. In my case, they wanted a website design company. I created it. In your case, you go and ask them, what do they want? All right. And you may get 50 of those people tell you something, and that may be your market right there. All right. Whereas
Yeah.
5 of them are going to say, I want this, and you realize you can go buy it over here for 5 and sell it to them for $10. You're not going to create a whole business over it. But when you have an audience of 100 people and 90 of those people say, hey, I want this, that's probably the product line that you should go after because they're willing to pay for it and they just told you.
That's what ad agencies do. They always start with the market analysis.
Mhm.
So if you don't have an audience like to ask, like what Tim was talking about there, if you don't have that, you could always go and you can use AI to do that research. And I gave a perfect example of that. Like in any particular niche, you could say, where's the biggest pain points? What is the biggest things that people are looking for or they need? In your case, you could say, what is the biggest consumer wants? What are people that are eco-friendly drawn to purchase? What's the
I,
best profit margin things that they're willing to spend their money
that's
on? And
I
what
haven't specifically said that. I said, like, what are the urban affluent millennials searching for right now that are eco-conscious? And it's been like, hoodies, wall art, um, and I think what I was thinking about for like advertisement is going for like slow fashion versus fast fashion, because
Mhm.
slow with intention and integrity versus fast fashion like Amazon. You can get it tomorrow, but you don't know what hands touched it. You don't know what chemicals are on it. And so backing it with blockchain, because it seems like there's so much greenwashing out there. So I wanted to kind of erase that and create bots that have all of the, this product, and you can just figure out where it was developed, what hands were on it. Like it's verifiable, traceable, to create that trust. But that's what I was starting on a website. And I also figured I'd probably need to do social media to start building a following. But it just seems like
But
I'm
that,
willing to do the work.
yeah, but the reason that you're struggling in the website is you're unclear on the market, which is why I took you in that big circle back to the beginning to where if you identified, okay, here's my market, here's the product for them, I'm very clear on the path. When you get to the developing of the marketing materials, including the website, you wouldn't struggle near as much with what do I put on the website? Because you'd
Yeah.
be putting on the website lead magnets that would grab their attention and you'd know what you're grabbing their attention for. Whenever you jump into web development and you're not clear on that beginning path, it's impossible. It's not just a struggle. It's you're banging your head against the wall. And I don't know about you, but I have a very soft head. I can only hit the wall maybe once or twice, and then I'm like, okay, I'm good.
So I guess my question is, like, in doing the ACT program, it said the urban affluent, they have the money to spend, and their dilemma is greenwashing and not trusting and not knowing where to look.
Okay. So I would say based on that, the next thing is what what are they going to spend their money on to solve those problems? Where are they willing to part with money that's worth the value of getting rid of those problems? Where you want to figure out, okay, how do I plug those holes? That's where you're going to go out and you're going to source something in there. Then what you're going to do for a lead magnet is you're going to go and you're going to create lead magnets that answer those questions. What that does, it gives you the ability to set buying criteria. Like, I'm just going to make something up totally out of the sky. We'll call it a pillow disc that you throw in your washer and it's magic and it does all the stuff they want, right? That's not true, but that's our product, the pillow magic. So you're going to go out and you're going to create a lead magnet that says, you know, if you're trying to solve this problem with your wash water, there's a simple solution, but you shouldn't spend your money on any solution until you know this. And then you're able to set the buying criteria why Pillow Magic is the only thing that's going to solve their problem. And in that process, you've grabbed their attention, you've created demand and desire for the product, solve the problem that gets them to their desired outcome. And you can make the weakest offer you've ever made and you'll still sell the product because you did everything else. The marketing sold the product, so you don't have to. So, but you got to find their problems. You got to find what they're willing to part with money for to actually get the Now, in clothing, you're talking about printable goods. Somebody that's going to print, an eco-friendly thing, that's a statement. That's an ego. And there's a lot of that. There's a lot of people that buy that kind of stuff because they want the world to know that they are who they are.
Yeah.
That's an identity thing. And there's a tremendous amount of money in that. I do not want to discount that at all. That might be your market. If you've got, because I know there's a lot of people that are in that, and it might be just a much simpler solution. Maybe you're just helping them identify to the world and be proud of themselves.
Yeah, even simple things like wear your values.
Yeah, that is a completely different angle. That's a completely different business. So you need to get clear on what the business is. And once you're clear on, who your ideal customer is and what their problem is and what you're going to do to solve that problem and get them their desired outcome, you got to figure out the why. Here's the biggest thing to this. This is like the secret. Why is their identity important to them? Why do they want people to know that they are who they are? Because now you can create a story by wearing the shirt. You're going to get the recognition that you desire. In a lot of cases, it will be significant. If it's a man, I'll tell you right now, it's significance. And for men, even that significance is worth the price of, let's say the hoodie costs $12. And he knows that. He knows he could buy a hoodie on any street corner for $12, but why is he going to spend $49.95 for yours? Because yours is going to get him the significance he's looking for. The $12 one, he's just going to be one in the crowd, just like he feels like he is right now. And he doesn't like that feeling. You see the difference?
Yeah.
You see how by understanding what he really wants is how you can sell it to him?
Mm-hmm.
And with your website, that will make it super easy. That will make all of your marketing super easy. But if you don't do the first thing, it will be hard. You're going to bang your head against the wall for a long, long time, and it's going to get sore.
Yeah. I
spent
think I just keep getting overwhelmed by everything because it's like I know based on what you're saying, it's like I know their triggers. I've been researching their triggers, but I think it's just like just dialing it back to a couple products and a couple things and
Yeah, the first thing really is to dial it back and go back to basics, go back to basic principles. And the timeline exercise is really important for this. Where they are and where they want to be. It's a simple thing, but figuring that out in the very beginning before you start doing any marketing is critical. Because it makes everything simple. It makes everything easy for you on the other end. And anybody, this is for everybody. If you're struggling, you probably aren't clear on who you're selling to, what they want, why they want it, and that's probably why you're struggling. It's hard. It's impossible. You're trying to do something impossible because you're out of sequence. I used the example, I think last week I used the example of dating. A marriage proposal is a reasonable thing. Somebody to propose to someone else for marriage is a reasonable thing, but not on the first date. If you're doing it on the first date, it's like, it's not going to work. It's crazy. It's out of sequence. So with you trying to build your website, you're trying to force a marriage before you've earned the right to ask for it, right?
yeah. Well, and I was trying to come up with a free thing to give away and I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but I was thinking of like an online coloring book that they could use to either transfer it to print on demand or just something for them to keep. So like it could be a design that they put on something, but also it's like sketched with like eco-friendly kind of
Yeah.
botanical themes and
What would be
powerful
better?
statements.
What would
Yeah.
be better for that is, let's say you came up with a white label AI software. I don't know where you'd find such a thing. And you had design tools in there to make their own print on demand designs that could be 100% unique to them.
Yeah.
They could do, family names on it. They could do a family crest, that makes a mythical story about them that goes back to Greeks or whatever. Here's who I am. Here's why I am who I am. I came from Anthony the Great. Because if they're looking for significance, that kind of stuff is gold.
Yeah.
And that's another buying trigger. That's the IKEA effect. Get them involved in building the thing. And even if it's a piece of crap, they're going to own it. They're going to
Yeah.
defend it to their death.
I don't know how to build tools yet. I'm still learning all the
Yeah,
language behind
that
that.
stuff is super easy. Like anybody that gets into the white label, I basically show you how to do that. And it's as simple as just talking to AI. It's the AI does all the tools. You don't do any of the coding. You basically have AI do all of that for you. By
Okay.
speaking simple English, like I want a GPT tool that will create images, and I want them to be able to put in what's important to them. And I want you to create it in this format for print on demand with only 4 colors max. You just tell it what you want. And it
And
builds.
that's only in your white label program that you can do things like that?
We have that. You could actually do that. You could go to Chat GPT. You could buy the pro account and you can create GPTs right in there. Like you could create a free tool you could give away as a lead magnet in there. It's much more difficult and it would take you a lot more tech savvy to take that tool out of there and get it put onto a website and put it behind a firewall and have them pay for it and all that. That would require a lot of, that's where the white label comes in and solves all those problems.
Okay.
But yeah, white label is not the only way to do this. There's a ton of ways that you could do this. It just makes it super simple.
Yeah.
So,
Well, thank you.
easy solution. All right. Anybody else? And thank you for that, Aaron, to be vulnerable and put yourself out there because everyone learns from that. Everybody needs what we just did and they're just afraid to ask for it.
Well,
So,
I'm a stay-at-home mom and I want more, and my boys are about to walk and I'm just like,
you're
I
running
have a
out of
window.
time. Yeah. You're gonna have a little army of built yourself over there.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, that's John. That's the example you can give her too, which you give all the time about the wedding dress. All right, and it's like she's in the stage right now. Those boys are growing up. Think of everything those boys are going to need for the next 18 years. That's what you're providing in business. What do they need next? What do they need next? What do they need next? And John, I guarantee you, John has watched every tape. He has given this example at least 100 times, and it is perfect example for building your business. It is exactly. And Aaron, you're right in the middle of it. Those boys are going to need something every year for the next 18 until they turn 18, and you're providing it for them. Well, it's no different than your business. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Once you get a customer, whatever it is that you're going to sell them, you've completed a timeline and then the timeline starts over again. So all you have to do is identify what's the next timeline, who provides that, create an affiliate relationship, and then you don't really have to do any work after that. You're just making introductions and you're making mailbox money forever. And the thing with the kids, Tim said 18 years. You're not going to stop loving those kids after they turn 18. That goes on for a lifetime. You're
Oh,
going to,
you'll be paying for their grandkids as you see my grandson pop up here all the time.
yeah, this will go on until they put you in a box. So that's really cool. But yeah, there's so much opportunity to make money in long-term relationships. Because no matter what you're in, I don't care if it's eco-friendly or, explosives. It's two opposite ends of the scale. You know, protect the earth, destroy the earth. You know, it doesn't matter. Once you get a customer and you create a relationship, you can decide when that relationship ends. Does it end after you supply the product and they've paid you and that's the end of the show? Or do you want the relationship to go on forever? And if you do, all you have to do is keep providing value. You don't have to provide services or products, but provide value. Maybe it's just an information of, hey, here's the next product you should be thinking about. And then you connect them, and that connection, you have a relationship with that vendor that every time you bring them a customer, they pay you an affiliate commission. So you've got all these, your relationship building in business, no matter how you slice it. And you decide what kind of a network of that you want to build. You can build relationships with vendors way outside your box. Like, you know, your people might be doing this one thing, but you know, hey, eventually they're going to buy a car. Why not have a relationship with a car dealer that will give your friends, your customers, a special deal that no one else gets? So who do you think they're going to buy their car from? Who's going to get paid when that car gets purchased? You know, they're probably going to buy a house someday. So why not create relationships with realtors in different parts of the country, different parts of the world? You know, I mean, this can go on to be a monster. But you just have to start with one. You start creating these relationships. You know, even people that you buy stuff from, anything that you buy that you think is cool, if your audience, if they connect and associate and relate to you, they're going to want to know what else you're doing, what else you're buying, what else you're using, so they can use it too. That is an effect. I don't know what that's called, but that is another psychological trigger effect of they want to follow in your footsteps. So just sharing that stuff, like sharing, hey, I just bought a car from this, you know, this guy and he's great. And I did this. I've actually sold several cars this way because I used the example. I said, God, I hate buying a car. I hate walking onto a used car lot because you just feel like you're going to get attacked, and you do. And they're relentless and it's a pain in the ass. You know, you need a car, but you don't want to go through that. Like that's the last thing on earth I want to go through to get a car. So we had a friend of mine, actually it's my brother-in-law's friend. I knew he was at the Honda dealer and he's a car salesman. So I called him and I said, hey, I want to buy a car. I want a Honda Pilot. I want it this year. I want it in blue metallic. And I gave him a whole laundry list of all the shit I wanted on it. And I said, I'm not going to go onto your lot. I'm not going to go through the process. I'm not going to sit in your office and be grilled about warranties and car shampoo and all this shit for 4 hours. I'm not going to do it. I said, if you can find the car, bring it to my driveway, bring the agent, whoever I need to sign off on it, and I'll give you a check. And within a week, that car was in my driveway. They came into my house. We sat at the kitchen table. I signed the paper. I handed them a check, and off they went. I got what I wanted. I got the experience I wanted to do it. And when I told people about that, they're like, "What's that guy's number?" And he sold several cars because of that relationship. So, Jim, go ahead.
Yeah, Aaron, you made a comment about why wouldn't people or businesses go directly to the other companies? And I just want to encourage you to value the research and the care and the standards and the integrity and core values. An example would be I wrote a book, and each of the 12 chapters are available online for free in my blog. There's videos about each chapter. Those are available on YouTube, but the compilation of it into a printed book, it is valuable. So that may be helpful in getting repeat buyers, multiple product buyers.
That's a
Thank you.
So lots of good stuff. There's no shortage of creative ideas of how to make money and how to create these relationships. But again, it's like the dollar bill under the seat. That's really the secret, is to just get up and do it, you know. So I know I get a lot done sitting in my seat, but that might be a bad example. All right. Anything else before we wrap up for today? This has been great, by the way. I love this kind of interaction. So again, thank you, Aaron, for bringing it out. Don't be afraid, like next week, to come in and say, "Oh my God, I did this. Now I'm here. Now I'm struggling with this." That's what we're here for, to keep you moving. So, all right. Anything else before we wrap up? All right, guys. Well, hey, thank you all for being on here and your participation, and we will see you all next week. Have a good one.
Thank you, John.
All right. Bye.
Good job, Aaron.